Hello YouTube, we're on the Real Programming channel. It's about HTML and CSS. My name is Andrei. This is our 62 lesson. I greet you. We will talk about what we need is a way to select descendants. And let's go. What we're really missing is a way to tell CSS that we want to only select elements that descend from certain elements, which is kinda like specifying that you only want your inheritance to go to the children of one daughter or son. Here's how you write descendant selector. Div h2. Leave a space between the parent and name the descendant name. Here is the parent element. And here is a descendant. This rule says to select any h2 that is a descendant of a div. Write the rest of your rule just like you always do. Here's what this rule selects in the long. Now the only problem with this rule is that if someone created another div in the long HTML file, sheets get black h2 text even if she didn't want it. But we've got an idea on the elixir div, so let's use it to be more specific about which descendants we want. Now the parent element is the element with the ID elixirs, and here's its descendant. The rule says to select any h2 that is a descendant of an element with the ID elixir. The rule selects the same element, but it's more specific. So if we added another div with an h2 to the page, that's okay because this rule selects only h2 in the elixirs div. Sharpen your pencil exercise. Your turn. Write the selector that selects only h3 elements inside the elixirs div in your rule. Set the color property to #d12c47. Also label the elements in the graph below that are selected. Write your CSS rule here. And there are no dumb questions. Descendant usually means child, grandchild, great-grandchild. Here we're just selecting the child descendants, right? That's really a good point. The selector elixirs h2 means any descendant of elixirs, so the h2 could be a direct child of the div or nested down inside a black water or another nested div, making it a grandchild, and so on. So the descendant selector selects any h2 nested inside an element, no matter how deep lie it is nested. Well, is there a way to select a direct child? Yes, for example, you could use #elixirs more h2 to select h2 only if it is the direct child of an element with an ID of elixirs. What if I need something more complex, like an h2 that is the child of a black water? That is in elixirs, it works the same way, just use more descendants like this. Elixir black water h2 color blue. This selects any h2 element that descend from black water descend from an element with an ID of elixirs, changing the color of the elixir headings. More that you know about descendant selectors, let's see the h2 heading to black and the h3 headings to red in the elixirs. Here's how you do that. Here is where using the descendant selectors to target just the h2 and h3 elements in the elixirs. Div we are setting h2 to black and h3 to a red color using a hex code. A quick test drive. Go ahead and add these new properties to the bottom of your long CSS file, save and reload long HTML. We've got black and red headings in the elixirs. And We haven't affected the aquamarine color being used for H2 headings in the main page. Now all we need to do is fix the line height. Fixing the line height, recall that in the last chapter we made the line height of the text and in the long a little taller than normal. This looks great, but in the elixirs we want our text to be a normal single spaced the line height. Too much the handout sounds easy enough, right? Just set the line height property on the div and everything will be fine, because line height is inherited. The only problem is that the headings will also inherit the line height and will end up with something like this. If you set the line height property on the entire div, then it will be inherited by all elements in the div, including the headings. Notice that the line height and the heading is too small and the lines are starting to run together. And here the font size of the elements. We set budget to small, so that's inherited by elixirs. The line height of H2 is set to I times the font size of elixirs, which is smaller, about 20 pixels. The reason that the line height for the elixirs headings is too small is because every element in the elixirs div inherits the line height of 1m or 1 times the font size of the elixirs elements, which in this case is small or about 20 pixels depending on your browser. Remember, the elixirs div is inheriting its font size from the body element, which we set too small. What we really want is for all the elements in the elixirs div to have a line height that's based not on the font size of the elixirs div, but rather the font size of each element itself. We want the H2 heading to have a line height that is 1 times its font size, which is 120% of small, and the P should also have a line height of 1 times its font size, which is small. How can you do that? Well, the line height property is a bit special because you can use just number instead of a relative measure like m or a percent for it. When you use just number 1, you're telling which element in the elixirs div to have a line height of 1 times its own font size, rather than the font size of the elixir div. Give it a try. Set the line height of the elixirs div to 1 and you'll see that it fixed the headings. This is our code. And we want H2 to have a line height is 1 times its own font size, that is 14 pixels, 120% of small. And the font size of the P element is small. P inherits its font size from the elixirs div, so it will have a line height of 20 pixels, which is what we want. Look what you accomplished. Take a look at the elixirs section now. You completely transformed it, and now it looks just like the handout. And other than adding a div and an ID attribute to your HTML, you were able to do this with just a few CSS rules and properties. By now, you should be realizing just how powerful CSS is and how flexible your web pages are when you separate your structured HTML from your presentation CSS. You can give your HTML a whole new look simply by changing the CSS. Remember, this is how the elixir section looked when we started. And here, what it looks like now. Oh, that's fantastic. You're able to make the elixir section on the website look like the handout with just little CSS. It's time to take a little shortcut. You probably noticed that there are quite a few CSS properties that seem to go together. For instance, padding left, padding right, padding bottom, padding top merging properties are the same way. How about background image, background color, and background repeat? These all set different property values on the background of the moment. Have you also noticed that it gets a little tedious typing all those in? There are better things to spend your time on than typing all this right. That's a lot of typing just specify for numbers. Well, here's a special bonus for the chapter. You're going to learn how to specify all those values without risking carpal tunnel. Here's how. Here's the old school way of specifying your padding. And here is the new and proved way to write them a shorthand. You can use the same shorthand with just like padding. You can use a shorthand to specify all your margin values with one property. If your padding or margins are the same value on all sides, you can make the shorthand really short. If all your padding values are the same, then you can write it like this. Padding 20 pixels. This says that the padding should be 20 pixels on every side of the box. But there's more, and don't forget the shorthand for backgrounds. We'll talk about this in the next lesson, and this is our 62 lesson over. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel. Please put likes, share with friends, comment, eat bananas, chocolate, and nuts, drink more water for the effective work of our brains. Bye.